What is life all about? What is it about? So many lessons, so many examples, so many characters to follow here and there. And yet it seems like it's still not enough. So many people came before, so many people deal with, examples of what they did of heroic feats and disasters, calamities, achievements, successes, depression, and loss of friends, loss of revenue, loss of income, loss of wealth, loss of health, gain of revenue, gain of wealth, gain of benefits, in markets or just life in general. So many things we see and we experience, and then it's like, what do you say? What am I like some philosopher? Am I some like wise person? I'm here, brother, I'm just here trying to figure out what life is about too. That's the same, we have a lot of dreams and ambitions and hope and wishes, and some of it is achieved, some of it are not. So I just say, it's like, as God said, we need to take some time apart, and just to kind of have a quiet time. Just take some time apart. Today's the Sabbath, God's holy Sabbath. The 7th, it's a Saturday, and depending on when you're watching the video, it may be the same or it may be, different, different day, But I'm just saying in general, some people take Sunday, some take Wednesday, Thursday, some people take different days, the idea pretty much is to take some time apart and just to see what does God require of us? What does he require of us? Oh man or woman, what does he require of us? Because I'm watching stuff in the news, I'm listening to reports, I'm listening to stuff happening to Tesla and Elon Musk. I remember calling stories in the Bible, Adam and Eve, and about Jacob and Esau. I'm looking at stuff we do in the videos we make and stuff like that, the places we go to. When you say you want to go to look at the battleships and stuff, we just, as the videos are coming out slowly about, the USS Yorktown. What about the Intrepid and other ones? What about the other battleships? The Navy's still there, the Army's still there. There's potential war I'm hearing talk about between the U.S. and the European Union, the U.S. and China. There's potential war between Iran and U.S., between Russia, Ukraine still going on, tit for tat. The Bible said these things will happen. You'll have rumors of wars, and you're going to constantly have stuff happening. So it's like, how are we supposed to govern ourselves? How are we supposed to accept and work with these things, knowing that these things are just going to happen? It didn't tell us exactly the date or the time, but it said that these things will happen. You'll have wars, rumors of wars, pestilence and famines and diseases, stuff back and forth. I look at a lot of programs on the High Wire with Del Bigster, highwire.com, THEHIGHWIRE.com, right? I look at stuff like that. I look at stuff on Alex Jones, in band.video. I look at stuff, we hear on the news, from sermons, different speakers and stuff. I listen to Fox News, I listen to, CCBS, I listen to Right Side Broadcast. A lot of stuff we hear about, And, people say, well, what are you, Republican, Democrat, Republican? I call it a big uni party because some people say, well, my side, your side. And then it's like one side wins for a couple of years and the other side wins. And I'm like, do we think it is that simple? We have war breaking out in heaven that's spilling over the earth. And we're trying to find which place we are. We have a side to pick, and you have to pick it soon. And we're trying to figure out, well, which side is my side? That's why they're so beautiful. I just love to watch them. Which side should I be on? Look at the colors. My eyes are so dry and ashy still. But which side should it be on? We're all thinking it's like, well, here's the thing that's surprising me. There's a video that just went out recently of somebody, there's so many. Somebody, while we're there, look at this. You can see this lizard camouflage on the stick. Look at this guy. He's so well blended in, right? There's a video circulating of somebody, harassing somebody in the train. Where it's like the guy has on like a MAGA hat, Make America Great Again hat, a Trump hat. So when Trump was in office the first time, they were attacking people for wearing a MAGA hat. Elon has the black one. Some people wear the red one, and some people use it to what they call trigger other people. Some people just are triggered by it, regardless of it. But what kind of personality and individual of mentality that we have now, whereby we cannot seem to stand to watch other people wearing something or looking at something or saying something, that if we don't agree with it, we have to go physically try to attack them and destroy them and to harm them. So it's like this kind of mob mentality, where it's like mob rule. Hey, we all believe this, right? Like when they did with the COVID time. We believe such and such, so therefore you need to do it and comply. And the Bible tells us we're not to follow a mob to do wickedness and cruelty to harm others. We're not to follow a group to do bad things. That's why I say we need the Proverbs. We need the words of Solomon. We need wisdom. We need wisdom of God to say we're not to follow these kind of things. We're not to get into a mob mentality to harm other people. We're not to get into this bullying tactic of thinking that everyone must believe and act the way we do, or else death to them, death to them. There's some religions that say if you don't believe and convert, death to you, death to you. Everything is death. So what they can do, and if you don't like what they do and you don't like what you don't like what you say, they want to arrest you, put you in jail and put you in solitary confinement. They don't like your politics. They don't like what you speak. They don't like what you clothe, what you support, what you buy, what you spend your money on. Death to you, death to you. Or they want to put you in jail and stuff. Come on. This is what we're coming to? This is it. So this is the time. I'm going to say, well, how? Did not God speak of such a time to come? Where it'll come unto you, teachers having itching ears, and those want to come to you that tell you must comply and do what they want to. Change the natural use of what God made into what they want to make it. Didn't God say such a time will come when they won't endure sound words, they won't endure sound doctrine? They don't want to hear it, but they'll be tossed about whatever wind of doctrine. What kind of mentality is this in your mind whereby a lady tries to grab the hat off somebody who's wearing a piece of apparel? He's wearing a MAGA hat on the train. She don't like what he's saying, so she's arguing and fussing with him, and she reaches and grabs for it, and then in grabbing for it, well, first they're getting into argument on the train. You know, she don't like what he's wearing. He don't like his politics, and he's like, okay, that's your opinion. He's right to say that. He leaves and gets off the train, and she goes running behind him to try to grab the hat, and she wants to make sure, she wants to convince him. I see others are people. Well, she tried to convince him, trying to run and grab his hat, and he's trying to. There's so much to see. You got to see the video yourself. So he's trying to run away from her. She's running after him, and she's still reaching to grab his hat after him, and she ends up missing the hat, and she falls on the ground and splats herself on the ground. Now that happened, I'm like, well, Bible says you reap what you sow. Why are you trying to take something that don't belong to you in the first place? And if he wears it, that's his opinion, that's his choice. You wear clothes, you wear this, you wear blue, red, whatever color you wear. Why you gotta take his? Why is it that we have to have it done our way? This idea of this thing, I think it's very selfish, where it's like, you must believe exactly as I believe, or then you don't matter. Or then we gotta destroy your country, destroy your life, destroy everything, destroy your family, burn and destroy everything you have. I mean, think about it. This is the year 2025, and you say, well, we've learned, we've come, we've achieved so much, we've gotten so much in life, we've done all these wonderful things. Look at what we have. Land, wealth, money, things. We have this, we have new business, you have AI coming up, you have different technology, everything coming up there in the world. We have so much, right? Yet the ability to control ourselves, our behavior, our actions, something is gone. There's something coming up and there's something going down. Because I'm like, and I said, during COVID time, I noticed a change in people's personalities. Now I see them driving faster, more erratic. There's a spirit that's covering them. They're driving crazy. People are more like rushing. They're driving everywhere. Like it's very erratic. And I'm like, from the way they drive, I remember it's like driving like life. I noticed the difference. I mean, I've been driving for almost like how many years now? 30-something years driving, right? Maybe even more. And I saw these people before. People were always more hospitable, more willing to, try to give, and they take turns and be willing to be more civil. Now they're distracted. They're driving, falling in their face everywhere they go. Can't see, the windows are black and tinted out here and there. And I thought it was only in Florida, with how it is, but other states too. Windows are black and tinted out, and they feel like, well, I'm inside my vehicle, whether it's a truck or car, they can do what they want. Nobody sees me. I'm under the cover of darkness. So they do. I mean, I guess maybe I'm late to the game. In some places, they do drive-bys, shootouts. They do knife-bys, stab you on a train, push, kill, knock you on the train, push you in front of the tracks, put you on fire, douse you with kerosene. I mean, you name it. I'm naming stuff of what we've seen on videos. What about stuff that's not even caught on videos? What I'm saying is this. We have to be really serious and careful what we do and what we listen to and who we say. Didn't God say God the avenues of our minds? Yes, you may see some videos of people talking about, do nice cut and splice, and where they can talk and move to the next thing. But I'm saying, I'm giving it you plain and simple as it is. I'm seeing it happening too. And I don't have to say anything true. And so I'm saying, if you say anything, you put yourself at risk every time. But I'm saying, how long are we going to halt between two opinions, sit there and watch all this stuff happen and be like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. We know what the truth is. We know what it is to say. And they say, well, who is it? Is it supposed to be religious people supposed to go and the ones to get up and say, listen, we see it happening, let's get involved and tell people to stop it. Or are we supposed to stand by and let the police and them handle it? What happens if the police is on the side of the wrong side? Depending on what politics you are, depending on who's in leadership, who's a Republican or Democrat, depending on what city you go, who's a governor, who's a mayor, crime may go unpunished, or crime may be punished. How do you feel when you see that wrong has been done against you or someone else or relative, and you say you report it and nothing happens to you? Nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. How do we feel when we see people acting so mean and rough and hurtful to each other, and nothing happens to them when you report it to the police and stuff? They're fighting about immigration. They're fighting about space, land, squatters. They're fighting about the governorship. They're fighting about the schools now. They say the Department of Education might be closed down. Trump is doing this. Trump is doing that. Hey, like Nebuchadnezzar and other people before, God allows and permits different leaders to assume the throne for a period of time. He sets them up and takes them down if need be. And then I always tell you before, I believe personally there's a uniparty, that the elections are just people are selected. They just put them in here and there, and not necessarily elected. Because I believe people were elected as they're supposed to say for the right purposes. And that's on the top scale, on the presidential level, I say if it was elected on the proper way, because people say they want law and order. Nice dragonfly. I believe things would be done a lot differently. But there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to see. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot. I can't even put it in one video. But I'm just saying, we have to study God's word more now than we did before. We have to go back and study the scripture. These flowers are so beautiful. Yeah. It's like there. Pink and then a little yellow in between, and the other one's like similar to the same brand of flower. Look at the patterns of these guys. Look at the patterns. This is what we gotta be focused on. Take some time to look at the patterns again and stuff, And at the same time, we're looking at the patterns in the flowers. Look at the patterns in our lives. Look at the pattern. Look what we do for ourselves. Look how we speak. Look what we drink. Let me ask you a question. Excuse me. A couple years ago, something happened to America. Something happened around the world. We call it the lockstep, right? When the COVID stuff was happening, COVID stuff was happening. SARS, COVID is 72. What did people do? How did people treat each other? Were they kind and loving to each other? Were they welcoming into each other? Weren't some people being blocked from homes and gatherings with family and friends because they didn't believe and do things according to how the rest of the people did it? What changed? What is different? I believe people became even more desensitized than they were already headed. But it's like with every new succession of things and every new generation, something more is happening. People seem to be becoming more cold and indifferent, less loving, less forgiving, less willing to talk and engage in discussion or to dialogue and, just exchange ideas. They're not as open-minded, I would say, to try to say, hey, brother, sister, I may agree or disagree with you, but still, speak on. Let me hear what you have to say. Then, they call it the public market. I think Elon Musk and them doing on Twitter, now called X. Still want to know why the name was changed, but he has his reasons. They have to say the open marketplace, the public. Now, they always say the open marketplace of ideas and stuff. Like the stock market. Everyone should be free, or the public square. Everyone should be free to speak their minds and to say, hey, what you believe, what you don't believe, and should not be harmed for it. Did not God make us individual? Didn't he give us all our individual minds and hearts? We're built uniquely. God said he formed us like in Psalms. He fashioned us in a certain way to be individually, fearfully and wonderfully made. Each individual specifically. He said he knows even the very hairs of our head are numbered. So why is it that he has the ultimate say in it, but mankind now seems to say that they should have the ultimate say in it? How? By saying they want to be able to map the human genome and all this stuff. They want to be able to clone and do this and build back and forth, do what they want to do. And more than that, they want to be able to govern and control you, to program you to how you should live, how you should be, and what you should do. And I'm like, okay, we have technology we can use for good and for bad. And there's new technology coming out almost every day. Every moment something's coming out. But there's also more war and carnage and violence and stuff happening at the same time. I see Trump announced that there might be a new new weapon system, on the new planes, the F-47 is doing. That'd be nice, but then again, it's like, again, we always say, who's the biggest arms dealer around the world? Who's the biggest trafficking agency around the world? Not saying happening under his watch, but prior to that too. Which country seems to be the most powerful and yet the most loving and yet the most generous and the most philanthropic? At the same time, the most vicious if needs be. Every time there's a war skirmish breaking out around the world, if this particular country doesn't get involved in it, they say they can't resolve it on their own. And isn't NATO trying to get them to kind of see if they can gang up against Russia right now with Ukraine and other stuff like that? And depending on what side you are, I'm just saying that I have no party. I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. I'm just someone here watching, looking and says, Lord, this is happening according to how you said it will. The nations are angry. Knowledge increases. Men are running to and fro. Disease, pandemic, and pestilences are happening left and right. And people seem to be caught in the middle and not knowing what to do, where to go, who to turn to, and what to say. And when they do say or speak up, then people are coming at them because if they don't believe according to how they should, as a collective group, the mob says we should believe, then they come at you. So they love to get out there and get together and pick up stones and rocks, Molotov cocktails, bombs, bullets, the sword, the spear, the gun, and try to handle their business. And you are their business, we are their business. They want to go and manhandle Christians and cut and chop and slice and bomb and blow up and rape, kill, murder, disembowel and slam their head, crush their skull. They want to do all these things to Christians and people who want to do the right thing. Well, as I said in the other videos, Christians, we are at a point in history where it should have been a long time ago. It's time to arm up. We should not be sitting there as being passive to aggression and violence against our people, against God's word. We should not be sitting to be passive against cruelty and violence against our children and against our men and women and families, the old and the elderly and the young. I'm not saying go there and speak violence and go there and harm other people like that, but you should be doing self-defense. What you see wrong is like how the police is there. Police is there to sit there and keep order and to maintain it. Like when you're driving on the road, right? And you see a police car stopping the side, everyone's driving there. At some point you may be driving, somebody's tailgating you, running hard on your back, right? Hard on you, driving you back there. Some of them in their pickup trucks want to go running because they find they have bigger wheels, bigger tire, they're higher than you. Or some trucks I see doing it also, which they should not be doing. They should be giving you adequate space in case you stop, so you don't get brake checked or they don't go and crash into you and harm and run you off the road or something. But people like to say out there bullying, intimidation, riding you. For what purpose? They want to intimidate you, right? Yeah? Brass knuckles, they put gun in your face. They want to ride you, right? Because they want to show that they're bigger than you. And some of them, it's almost like they get their steam of their psyche from having the bigger wheels, the big things. They find they get high up, that you're lower down so they can look down upon you. And they forget, at the end of the day, we're all just the same on the same level, equal and naked before God as it is. And he's the judge of all. So they forget that what they say, what they utter, what they do, what's written, even what's taught, everything is brought in front of God in an open forum. So there's nothing hidden that won't be known. But they think that I can speak what I want. I can hide behind my computer screen. I can hide behind my desk. Hide behind my keyboard. Do what I want. Put a little video out here. Sell a little something out here. I can dock someone. I can go somewhere. I can do a Photoshop. I can do a mixing. They can do so much technology, so much creativity to do bad things to harm other people. But to do right, seems they can't figure it out. But I say this at the same time that while we see a lot of bad happening, a lot of good things are happening too. The question is, what are we doing about it? Are we participating in the good or the bad? Are we going to join mob rule? Or are we going to follow what God has asked us to do? Because mob rule says it will lead to destruction. Remember, God says, broad is the way that leadeth unto destruction, but narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. You mean with all these people in the world that are there, you mean of all these people in the world, you're saying not everybody's going to be finding the right path? Not everybody's going to be doing God's will? Interesting. Pineapple. So beautiful arrayed. Beautiful links, but if you look closely, it has spikes on it too. That actually, if you go the opposite way, it can stick you like barbs. Interesting. So beautiful that he has barbs. Ouch. What about roses? They have thorns too, right? Yet we still love them, right? What about cherry blossoms? Beautiful flowers, but I'm hearing that they only bloom in some part of the year, some seasons. You notice a lot of them in the designs we have on the mattb.com or mattb.etsy website, right? And relatable.etsy.com. Not giving a promo like that per se, but just saying we're trying to get the message out one way or another. We're trying to get the message out in song and videos. What message? The gospel message. In shirts, in apparel, in clothing, in designs, in games. Any way possible we can try to find and get the word out. People can actually have something they can trust and love and feel like, hey, these people care about us because we're real. I ain't got time to speak to you stuff that's garbage and lies and fakery. I speak to you that what I know and what I hope that you would like and stuff, But again, my way may not be the same as everybody's way, and your way may not be the same as my way. But at the same time, the top way is God's way. He's the one that makes the final say. It's His way. It's the ultimate way. We're just here. We're the creation. We can do some things and we think it's right. But again, God says that the way of you, man or woman, is the way that the man think it is right, but that way may be leading to death. So I said to myself, how could people get together in a group, collective format, and then try to attack each other and try to harm somebody else that don't believe the same? Why are people trying to burn Teslas and trying to destroy this store? And I say it now because this is recent time, but it happened before. When people burning cotton mills and burning different the competitors' store and businesses. You know, how did remember with the Holocaust? Weren't them people doing like a lot of false flag stuff was happening too? But there are other groups, including Jesuits, that are behind these things and making these things happen. You know, they say they're for Jesus, but they're doing anti-Jesus stuff, which is anti-Christian stuff. If it's anti-Christian, it's anti-Christ, then it's not of God. And they have many people supposedly call themselves Christians, say, I'm a Christian, I'm a godly fearing person, I do God's work, I do God's will, and yet their life is so devilish and so wicked and so malicious. How are they going to claim to have the high ground? But you see, that's the devil. Sheep in clothing. What did God say? I sent you out as sheep among wolves. So you have a lot of wolves out there, and He sent us as sheep. Honestly, sheep only have little hoofs and stuff. You know, they don't have the guns and swords that they have, but rams can do some battle. But think about it. You have many people that are wearing the banner and said, I am Christ. They go do wickedness and violence all 6 days of the week, and then they sit to go have a worship ceremony with God. Or some of them, we drive behind one guy yesterday in a pickup truck yesterday. He drove in front of us, came from behind, cut us off in front, and went in front of us, and he had a big sign, the signs in the back of his car, little signs in the back of his window, a red pickup truck, saying, Hail Satan, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, seriously? But here's the weird thing. He was actually using this, it was a he. I mean, it looked like a he. Was it a he or a she? Was it he? Was it he? He was actually using his turn signals and indicators. He was merging right. He had the tags on proper. He was in Florida. Had his tagged on. He was actually following the rules and the regulations of the state. Proper tags. The vehicle looked well in order. Tires, everything worked. Brake lights, everything worked in the back. Truck, everything worked. But the other sign said, Hail Satan. And I'm like, oh, I'd be like, death to him, death to him. No, I'm not saying that. I'm like, Lord, I said, what would make someone make a video or a sign or a song? Listen, here where I'm going. Or a shirt or apparel of such vulgarity in words. To me, it might be vulgarity in words, but suppose he's doing a parody. Suppose he's doing like a reverse, like where he's like, if I say Hail Satan, you think I'm crazy and wicked, right? Maybe you'll leave me alone, you know? Or maybe he's really saying Hail Satan. But can Satan be hailed in such a environment where he's going down, he's going to be destroyed? Why would I want to hail Satan who's going to be destroyed? He's been a wicked deceiver and a murderer since the beginning. What does he call it? Pain, death, and decay. All the bad you see is what's happening now. Not because of act of God, it's an act of Satan. He's been permitted to do some things, and he will be destroyed. So why is it people are willing to say Hail Satan and are willing to show Baphomet symbols and hand symbols, all that stuff, all these occultist symbols and stuff, yin yang, all this other stuff? It's almost like it's an effort and futility when you see it. But I pray for that gentleman who's there, who may have had this, and other people who are also wearing these shirts of skull and bones and death and all kind of paraphernalia. You know, all these groups I see you driving around, riding around with death on their background, death in front, death angels, all death in front, always death. It's like they glorify death, necromancy, and death in life, death in air, death in food, death in this, death. If we live and drink death, what are we going to live and get for ourselves? Yeah, death. But if you live and breathe and talk and speak life, what should we get? Life. Okay? God said follow obedience unto life, or disobedience unto death. So if his death is what the result of disobedience, should we take a choice and pick the right one? So I keep asking, how long hold we between two opinions? Are we going to follow the same mobs and say because my co-workers and my church members or my friends or my collective group or my family believe a certain way, that I'm going to judge with them because I don't want to have them come angry against us and say, well, you don't believe with us, then get away from me. You don't want to take this? Don't come with me. Don't come and play with my kids. Don't play with your kids. Don't come to my gathering because I'm better than you. Come not near me. I'm better than thou. You know, the Bible does speak about such things like that. So again, the question is asked, how long hold we between two opinions? If God be God, follow God. If God's not God, don't follow God. But how long? I mean, look at this. We're alive now, but a couple of days ago, a tornado ripped through a lot of states and killed a lot of people. I was like, heard about it. Almost 40 tornadoes ripped through the southeast. And man, from Arkansas, it's in the U.S. There's also calamities of floods and and devastating avalanches and accidents happening by day and by night. Planes crashing, planes flipping over, planes burning. What happened to the drones? What happened to that mystery fog? Where's COVID? Where are the people all falling around twitching? Where are they? Where are they right now? Where did COVID go? Where did Flurona, Omicron, all this stuff? Where did they go? Something came on, something came off. The world has changed a lot. I thought after 9/11, that was the main thing. Back in 2001, when it hit the World Trade Center, I thought it was like the age. They call it the age of fear in many books. I thought that was the end of it. But then to see planes smashing into buildings and stuff like that, I thought that was enough to kind of shake people's thing. And we see it replicated in different movies. Even in the Godzilla movie in 2014, 2018, when they had a replica when the nurse is in the hospital and they're trying to evacuate the patients out of there into the. I love that movie. I love Godzilla. I like all the movies, as long as they have no cursing. But they had it their website. They're trying to evacuate the people, and while they evacuate them, the planes are like a F-16 or a jet fighter, American jet fighter, smashes into the building, and it looks similar to the World Trade Center. And you're like, wow! It brought a replica back. I'm like, whoa! That reminded me. And those who've been through stuff, it reminds them of stuff. And when we go to the things we saw in the videos, or you may see them later on about the videos we see of them, some of those reenactments of World War, with like Midway and other stuff, and you see how people died in those submarines. Many ships went down in the sea with the cargo. They were alive at the time. Some of them blown in pieces, some of them shrapnel on both sides, both the American and the Japanese and the other people, the Chinese side. All the groups, all the UK, the British, all the bombings, the raids, the destruction happened in Japan, China, Russia, all around Germany. How many lives are lost? Look at the recent wars they have in Ukraine and stuff. How many lives are lost in Afghanistan? How many lives are lost over there in Iran and Iraq? How many lives are lost? What about Syria? What about the bombers recently? I mean, what about in Israel? What about all this stuff there? Do we think that these things are happening by random chance? Everything is happening just as God said it would. So I'm saying, please, my people, my brother, sister, I can go on for hours. I got a lot of stuff to tell you. But I'm not permitted to tell you that because they pull the videos and they block them. And some people, again, as they're taking out anger and violence on any people, they might take it out on us, on our families too. Because for some reason, they don't seem to want to tolerate right thinking, right thought, or right. Some people call it wrong think. They don't want you to think and be individuals. They don't want you to have your independent mind of thought. They don't want you to have your independent freedom. They don't want you to have any way express yourself. They don't want you to be. Yeah, they don't want you to be. That's what we call it, just be. We said, no, be existing. We're trying to counteract the influences of what's happening in the world. The world is going contrary. The world is going to the left. Your 100 video looks at the world is going to hell in a handbasket, the world put it. The world is getting more violent, more indifferent, more implacable, more merciful, more cold, more devious, more devilish, more deceitful, more stuff. At the same time, it's counteracted, it's contraposed, I'll make up a new word, if it's the new word, by goodness and the light and the children of light and God's people who say, listen, no. We ain't gonna go there. As Caleb, that's all. Me and my house, we're gonna serve the Lord. We want to serve the Lord today and give him praise and honor and glory no matter what happens. Though the heavens fall, give God praise. At the same time, I'm saying Christians, we're not to sit there and be pacifists and sit there and say, well, I don't get involved. The news, that's for them. And I can have a Sabbath and worship and everything else, but I don't want to get involved in the world. I don't want to make a stay. I don't want to speak up in government. I don't want to say anything about what happened in my council, city council, or the mayor or the governor. Oh, yeah? Have we forgotten whatever happens will affect us? We ain't say go there and preach violence and go harm other people, anything like that, and go harm people. But I'm saying we ought to speak up. How our children are being raised and how our families are being raised. What happens in votes in Congress, votes in Parliament, votes in these places? Yeah, they said things that people are selected and not necessarily elected. We do have to speak up. We do have to say. Because what affects us affects them. And sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. But wouldn't it be better to at least say something to let them know that you at least believe something, that you mean something, than say nothing? And then when it happens to you, you say, well, I guess that it is. But let me ask you something. Doesn't each person influence others? Like how we can say water can cut rocks if it's continually channeled around. Water can cut you rocks. Look at the Grand Canyon. Look at Horseshoe Bend. Look at Arizona. Water can cut you rocks. But how? Water can drip, finally make a indentation in the rocks. So I'm saying, we can affect change. We can't make change happen, but it starts at 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, and then you have change. But if we sit there and say, I don't know, I don't want to get involved, then we have no one else to blame but ourselves. And then we say, but I tried, I spoke up, I said everything, and then they still didn't listen to me. It's still better to have spoken and tried than not to have done anything at all. So God is telling my people, I want you to go out there and try the spirits. Listen, question, rebuke, exhort, speak, try to save, try to convince. Debate if you have to, but don't get violent and harm people, in an offensive manner. But be ready to defend yourself if necessary. Be ready to defend yourself. Sword in hand, the Bible in the other. But go to the Bible first. Go to prayer. Jesus didn't tell the disciples to give it up all the weapons and swords. But he also told Peter, when Peter cut off the high priest's servant's ear, put your sword back in the sheath. But he didn't say toss it away, never use a sword, never use a sword. Sometimes you need that weapon. Sometimes you need to be defensive. Sometimes you need to be able to stand guard. Remember the Amalekites when they come and attack the children of Israel? Well, here's this. We're going to go back to the stories. We're going to get back to the stories again about what happened to the children of Israel. We haven't done with it. We may jump into here and there and not everybody wants to hear the same thing, okay? At the same time, our videos we make on the YouTube channel, I Keeping It Real, it's not necessarily only one type of video. We do a lot of different things, okay? 1 minute maybe about cars, trips, plans, things here, history. Next minute maybe about store, videos, things. People say, pick one. That's not who I am. That's not who you are. Every day we have things coming at us. We got to work with what we have and work with the hand that's given to us. We got things to do. We got business to run. We got things to do. We got families to take care of. We got to take care of ourselves, but we got God to praise at the same time. So I'm saying, you get a little bit of everything. I said, I Keeping It Real. It's about you and I. You and me. I and you. You know what I'm saying? We're saying we have to speak about what's affecting us, how it's affecting the world, and what people are doing about it. What's this guy, mosquito? Are you a mosquito? Okay, I don't like mosquitoes, okay? Sorry, I have to kind of see this off the screen. Yep, we don't like mosquitoes. We don't like mosquitoes. They do a lot of damage to us, and a lot of them have been dropped here by our friend. I heard there's a gift given to us in Florida by Bill Gates and some people by putting some mosquitoes out there who was kind of hybridized. I don't know what they do to us. I don't know, but they mess with the food, the water, the air, the land, the trees, the housing, the money, everything. You name it. You name something they're not messing with. So I'm saying that's what it is. So at the same time, we have to live a life, and God said we have to occupy till He comes. So I just say thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to this. And I say, please do take the time to watch and learn what's happening in the world. Do take the time to watch and learn what's happening to your neighbor. Don't be hateful, bitter, angry. Don't follow the mob. Never follow a mob to do destruction. Not going to end well. Never follow a mob to harm anybody. And how can someone say they have the high road? They're saying we are getting together because someone is a Nazi, someone's wicked, someone's violent. And therefore, to us to teach them, we got to go burn their businesses and kill them and stop them and stab them and drag their bodies to the streets and stuff. So how is it that they want to do right and say they want to be living for God, but they want to kill a fellow brother and sister? That is not living for God. That is living for the devil. Their father's children. They're the children of the devil. Remember, when they're trying to harm Jesus, He said, you said you will follow your father, the devil. Those who are following the good shepherd, those who are following Jesus are children of light. That's God's children. But those who are independent of mind, thinking that, hey, I'm going to choose evil over good, they're the children of the devil at that point. So take it as it is. Don't say they're trying to do the right by doing wrong. Okay? You can't say you want to be for pro-life and yet you want to kill somebody. You can't say I'm for freedom of choice, but they want to kill somebody because they made a choice themselves. So we want to be pro-choice as long as this is so interesting. As long as they do it our way, we're happy. But if they do it someone else's way, we're not happy. But aren't we individual, independent thinking minds? Isn't that what we love to have the collective debate? What happened back in the time of the Socrates and about Plato and Aristotle? Didn't they have on those human decor, all these different, say philosophers? Didn't they have debates and talk about stuff happening? Didn't they have discourse, as the term goes? Should we have discussions? Debate and discussion is the way ideas come across. The ideas are mixed, matched, and grinded, and you have to kind of support your evidence. Like the scientific method. Evidence-based thing, you have to prove what you can do, and then, because I don't believe science is just name given to it because of what the worldly modern version of science. I believe science is what God has made in the earth. To say, hey, look at the earth. Try to figure it out. That's what I call science. We are to have debate and discussion in a non-violent manner. You cannot be trying to bomb and kill and murder someone because they believe something different than you do. We're made different. We're born differently. But yet, they only two genders, right? Or sexes, right? Male and female, right? And women have a lot to offer. So do men. Children, old and young, everyone has something to offer. So why do we think that it has to be only our way and not, So can someone think and do differently? And here's the thing. If Elon Musk is trying to sit there and try to find crime, corruption, all this stuff in there, and other people are trying to do the same thing, trying to find crime, corruption, waste of money and stuff, as we all should do accounting, right? Like when, we try to do our books and stuff, make sure everything is not wasted. Like you check if your house, make sure in your car, you don't want to have any parasitic losses. Like, you want to lose energy and work it with the way the vehicles works. You want to make sure everything's working in order so you can take a trip. want to make sure your house is good so you can be weathered, to be able to weather the storms and weather life, and be able to, to be given a certificate of occupancy. You want to be able to make sure the plane does its pre-use check, so you can actually be able to fly in the sky and stay there, or the boat can stay afloat. Or what about you do work in the ventilators? You work in the hospitals. You got to make sure the vent has a pre-use check, that it can be worked. That when you put it on, it's not going to fall off. You make sure the calibration is done right. But if you try to do a calibration on the U.S. government and the system, some people say, maybe trying to go data mine and get everything and put it into the system, and then you're going to do this. Listen, whether they do or not, I'll say God says you should see them you'll know them by their fruits. They'll see the outcome. Again, he may do that, but what about your social security number? Isn't it kind of like a branding already? What about our phones? Aren't they like kind of like data mining us? You try speaking about something and see what ads come up to you on your phone. Aren't we like being monitored and manipulated? We put our information down here and there. We speak to people that we don't even know that are monitoring and tracking us left and right. And they're doing stuff to us. But it's kind of weird. When all this stuff is going on, for lawlessness and crime and stuff is going on around the world in some places, I didn't see this much uproar and violence against that kind of stuff. But when these people are trying to go expose the evil works of darkness, then I see people come out in a very demonic fashion, trying to harm and attack and destroy people trying to do right. It's almost like a purge is happening. That's what happened with COVID. What about, they call it radical Islamic terrorists, all that kind of stuff they talk about back then too? I see people now kind of getting together saying, if you don't believe in what I do, you need not to live and exist. What about with the masking they had back in COVID time? Didn't they try to do this also? If you don't want to wear the mask, you don't want to do something, want to comply. But yet now they say, we made a mistake. Sorry, we made you lose your business, your life, your livelihood, and your job, and maybe some people lost their lives. What about when they had a protest, and a Black Lives Matter protest, and people were speaking up saying, all lives matter, and some of them got shot in the face and killed for saying it? Doesn't all life include the red, white, yellow, black, blue, and red? I mean, come on. If all lives matter, why should then it be then singled out to just be only one, and then the one is better than the many, but yet the many is all of us? Is it only white people to survive? Black people to survive? Brown people, I call it. I'm brown. Is it only yellow? Is it only red? Who should be the one to live on this earth? They say that those are European stock, white only, black only, Indian only, Japanese only, Jewish people only, and then Jewish people, are they not a race too? So how is it that they have white, yellow, black, white, and then Jewish? I mean, think. They're giving us, they're feeding us, they're conditioning us to believe a certain thing and think that's what it should be. That's it. They tell us this is what it is, and that's what we do. We follow, we say, okay, yeah, it is. And I'm so wise and learned. But I'm saying, when are we going to start thinking for ourselves again? To follow a mob to do destruction, that's not of God. That's not thinking for yourself. That's saying that's devilish act. It's like the people going back and forth with the tiki torch and the pitchforks. They're going to kill someone. Remember back when they had the Salem witch trials and stuff back then? Many innocent people got killed and murdered because they thought they were a witch, or because they were left-handed, or they did something differently, or people were calling in things. Now I heard about people getting swatted also. On the InfoWars team on Alex Jones and them show, one person recently got killed. Sorry, Jamie, and it's very horrible to hear what happened. They said he's trying to stop a maybe possible robbery in progress of his vehicle. That's what we hear. They're counted, but then he's also on a hit list to be killed by people from the Ukrainian side. They have a hit list out against Elon Musk and them too. Even Alex Jones and these guys have a hit list against them too. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of wrong. Why? For being a journalist, for exposing corruption and cruelty and pedophilia and violence and things that happen in the government and crime and graft. What about Jeffrey Epstein? How everything happened to fall into place so smoothly so that he ended up not being alive today, to say. But some say he still might still be alive somewhere. What about the Diddy files, all that stuff we hear about? What about the JFK and the MLK? All these things we hear about. They have things, there are many people who have the information, and the CIA, FBI, the ones in the past. I mean, you ask yourself, where were they formed? How were they formed? Are they formed by godly inspiration, or are they formed by different groups? Again, let's talk about the Jesuits. There's a history behind this. What about Bush? What about those things? A lot of things happened before. All this stuff you hear about in the news is not by accident. All this stuff we're working with right now is not by accident. Many of these groups are funded by different groups. What about the WHO and the UN? Are they of God? Are they speaking and promoting God? Or are they promoting other gods or some other God to replace God? Are they doing anti-Christian things? Who's the leader of them? Isn't the Jesuits and those people out there in leadership positions? A lot of people are Jesuits. And they say, who are these Jesuits? Study it up. The Pope now says it's Jesuits. They say, if you don't know who I am, study me. But they say they have the society of Jesus, but they're not doing Jesus' will and not Jesus' teachings. The real Jesus, of love and peace and forgiveness and mercy, following the 10 Commandments. The Jesuits follow death. Murder, disembowel, killing, murder, swinging, toppling governments, coup, insurrection, all kind of violence, everything devilish, everything satanic is them. So the Jesuits, their father is Satan, not of God. So just saying, if you want to know the truth, study God's word. If you want to know the counterfeit, you're just going to be misled. Misled by, if you just study the counterfeit, just be misled. You need to study the truth. What is the truth? What does God's word say? To study what God's word said, to know it is to look up in the sky and say, Lord, show me. And to look up in nature and say, show me. When you see what God is saying, when you know what God is saying, when we do it, then He sets us free. Our mind is free, our bodies are free. We can think better. You can help to teach others. And when the society feels free, freedom in God, when they learn more about how God lives and how God loves people and see how God treats people, how tolerant He is to the hurt and the maimed and the infirmed and those who are sick and those who are, say for instance, damaged by things in the environment and toxicity and stuff. Those who may be considered like trisomy or Down syndrome, those who may be autistic and all that kind of stuff. We don't get rid of them. We treat them and love them and care for them. Because those are brothers and sisters. Those are our children. Those are harmed by things in this world and nature. I tell people, vaccines are a big part of that. You don't want to believe me? All right, look around and see. The ratio of autism now is like 1 in 36, 1 in something compared to what it used to be back in the days. The amount of autoimmune issues against affecting our bodies and ourselves, a lot higher than it used to be. Well, how did Adam and Eve and these guys live before? How did Abraham live before? I didn't see they have to get no vaccine to survive. Well, all of a sudden now everyone has to get a vaccine for everything. A vaccine or a pill for every single ailment. To sleep, to talk, to read, to write, to intimacy, all kind of stuff. Everything needs a pill or vaccine for something. Jab, 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 jab. They can't do anything more to survive now without anything in their life. And those who are pushing this stuff, they're making lots of money on it. But the rest of the people who have no choice, and I just want to get by. A lot of people just like the smooth messages. I just want to get over it quickly. I don't want to have to do the work. Exercise, what is that? I don't want to do the work and sweat and go through all these things and effort. I just want to have the smooth things given to me. Give me a smooth message. So they want to heap onto themselves. Teachers have an itching ears. Like, itching ears means, tell me what you want to hear. What you want to hear? Tell me. And they give it to you. So they listen to you. They're watching you. They're collecting data on you. They do marketing on us. Based on what we look at. They try some things on us, see how we respond. Try some on us, do some operant conditioning. They try some stuff on us, see how we respond. And they give us some Hegelian dialectics of giving us what we don't want so that we can want what they want to give us that we may have refused before. And then they come back with us. So I'm saying, what you see happening right now is not by accident. Everything has been planned. Just as the devil would like it to be, and just as God said it was going to be. So we're saying, take heart. Don't follow the mob. No mob rule. Follow God. And then you'll see what true freedom is about. So give God praise. Study to show self-approved. Redeem the time, because the days are evil. And let us give God praise together, okay? I'm going to try to get back to the story now. Exodus, and starting back from reading for Story time with Uncle Joe. Many different names I put on it, but the message is still the same. God and God alone is the only one that can save us. Take care. God bless you all.